Okay, so, alright, I'm gonna try and, I keep, like, aiming for this, and then it just dissipates. Alright, so, Glenn's house, that I actually physically went to, not the night that it was up in the master bedroom, it was down in the basement. I had, like, a finished basement, with the floral bed, but there was nobody else in the room at the time, but it was kind of like one of those hybrid rooms. I don't know what it was laid over. It was not the Omega Disaster house. It was another house. I don't remember what. But I was sitting at the edge of the bed, the floral bedspread, and it looks like I'm alone, except it's got that weird, like, almost like somebody poked through the density and was like moving like a mouse, I guess. You know, I mean, I call it an energy signature. So I mean, it looks like they were using an outside utility. They pushed a mouse and then they like poked through and they were moving stuff around. And they put the it's like an OCCULARIUS on, or whatever the hell they're calling these things. But it was a customized one. Because my diagnostics was so bad, like, I didn't even know who I even belonged to anymore. All I knew is if I could actually permanently kill this body, I would be fucking happy as anything, and then I would go. But because of whatever else is going on, right, it's important that whatever they keep telling me that I need to stay, whatever. So I'm like, I really don't like any of you enough to want to stay. I don't. Like, time is not a factor I'm affording any of you. In fact, if I could dock you fast enough, I would. So they gave me these fucking OCCULARIUS things, and I'm like, I have no idea what his name is. I have no idea what it is. And like, it's just like one of those like atmospheric, I mean, like, I guess they were talking through their like microphone or whatever on their computer or wherever the fuck they were. And I'm just like, yeah, okay, so I was like, well, the person's like, well, you went on those dating sites. How'd you do that? I'm like, pull that up. I was like, I'm not doing dating sites. I was like, that is the stupidest fucking waste of time that you humans created. It's like looking at a catalog of the ugliest fucking, like, possibilities, and then having to go, like, I guess it's, like, the best to the worst. Like, ugh. I'm like, you don't sit there, you're not like, oh my god, 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 oh my god. Doesn't happen that way. No. It's like, page 101, 100 hours go by. You're like, I don't do it. I refuse to do it. I was like, I did it like once or twice. I was like, great. I got over it. There was like nothing fucking on there that was worth anything. I was like, great. I met Mike and I met Eric. Beautiful. Neither one fucking worked out. So now what's your point? Right. Okay. So if I had to choose, like, if I could create the perfect look, right? Yeah. Okay. So go like somewhere between Mike Zapp and Mike Hewson. Somewhere in between there. I was like, do some kind of like triangle thing over the face. I was like, and symmetry it up if we're creating the perfect human. And he's like, actually, he's like, how about this one? And it just like boomed in. And I'm like, no, that's interesting because that looks really familiar. I was like, no. I was like, now, is that like real? I was like, oh, are you just like fucking with me at this point? Because like, I'm really fucking tired of you humans and I don't trust a goddamn one of you. And he's like, actually, he's like, I'd be a little nicer to me. He's like, because I know this guy. And I'm like, oh, all right, fine. So I was like, what do you want me to do? And he's like, well, anything you want to know about him? I'm like, I don't know. Like, what do I need to know about him? Like, if you know him, I mean, like, you want to give me his name? He's like, actually, at this point, nope. I just needed you to visually, like, whatever. That was what you were looking for. I'm like, yeah. Anything else? Right. So, that was that first OCCULARIUS in, like, a weird whatever. I was there. I mean, what do you want me to tell you? I know time and space. I mean, like, I know that there's someone somewhere that's useful and helpful and trying. But an army of one is not really very helpful when you got like a army of bajillion like assholes fighting for shit that don't fucking matter, and you're like, I just want like my girl can like, and I know like supposed to be a priority, yeah, but now like you got some fucking court system calendar lockup, and like my calendar girl doesn't seem to be that important to any of y'all. Anyway, right, if we could just do, like, the me, you, and quiet, never, like, seen or heard from again, that would be, like, really special. That's all I ever wanted. So, right, why do we have to do all this humanness, and why I have to do all this waiting when I own a calendar and you own a calendar girl? Right, why did we sit here and allow them to like study cage and genetics and totally wipe my memory clean, like move my body in time and space in some like teleportation experiment because they were excited and jerk off to like the sun, the moon, the stars, the planets, the possibilities, and math. And you're like, oh god, right? Yeah, no, I know, but I need help with you. Oh my god, this is so weird. Yeah, like, see, like, the moving into, like, the room in order to find the guy with the thing on, that wasn't weird. Like, it's, like, what you humans actually do and expect and then hide. That's just, like, I'm so over this. I want to pop my fucking genetic and get the fuck out of here. I want to go, like, electron shell into where I belong. All right, okay, so then there's another moment. The second time I wore those stupid googly goggle things, and I made Mark put his hand on my back. Now, Mark wasn't his full strength, and someone in the room with some tattoos up and down, I call him Mark Ski, S-K-I, I don't know why, I think he died, I don't know, he's from my death pool, whatever, like he was an accidental ding and dent, and I'm like, well, how'd that happen? Yeah, no, I'll get you somewhere in a catalog, because I'm not letting go of, right. Anyway, and no, not for, like, yeah, no, you were just important to story scripts elsewhere. Right, okay, so, but I mean, I care, but right now I got other things going on. I got more important things, like my calendar guy I gotta fix, and he fixed me, but whatever. So now I got, whatchamacallit, I got Mark holding my back, and I'm like, he wants to know something, so I put on those goggles, or his version of googly goggle gear, or whatever the hell they're called, and he's like, alright, tell me what you see. And I'm like, right, I was like, I don't know, some kind of like ball of light, right, and then he's like, alright, anything else? Right, and then it was like, all of a sudden, I was in the freaking unit, I was inside the ball of light. I mean, my body, Mark was holding my back. I could feel that sensation. So I'm still attached to my body, but like I was inside. I call it popping pebbles, but right, like so I got like whatever behind me. I got Mark behind me, and then I'm inside these googly spatial whatever. And then he's like, now I need you to tell me, like, can you mark dimensionally, can you like see like the edges of where you are or what you're being held in? And I'm like, what? I was like, what kind of question? I was like, no. I was like, I don't know. I'm like some kind of, right. I mean, like, do you need me to scrub it? I'm like, I'm some kind of like glass, like snow globe. I was like, kind of, sort of. I mean, it feels like a hard plastic, like composition. I mean, some kind of wispy, gaseous whatever, but it's a conscious gas, if I don't even know if that makes sense in a humanness form. I was like, right, and then all of a sudden, something was going on, and then the other one compressed, and then, right, I just went straight in that way, right, and then all of a sudden it was like, oh, wait, now I can communicate, because right before I was looking around, I'm like, I don't have arms, this is going to be weird. Right, how do you, multi-dimension, the outside rim spectrum of, right, yeah, you really, I don't know, I mean, like, now, why do you need me to measure dimensions? Like, what do you want me to describe? Because, like, I mean, I'm here. It doesn't feel like, I mean, it feels like a small box, but like a small area, surface area around where I am at the moment, right? And then all of a sudden, I started getting hit with something, which I didn't know what it was. And he's like, well, right, but where is that coming from? I'm like, what do you mean, where's it coming from? He's like, no, see, he's like, I know something's hurting you. He's like, but you see that little ball next to you? I'm like, yeah. He's like, is it bright or is it dull? And I was like, well, it looks dull. It looks like it's like almost like dead. And he started laughing and goes, that's interesting observation. It's kind of how I feel sometimes. I was like, oh, that's you? And he's like, well, that's what they keep telling me at work. And I'm like, oh. I was like, all right, so now what do I need to do? And he's like, well, can you go over and make sure I'm not dead? I'm like, well, I could. I was like, but do you want to know about this thing that keeps hitting me? It's hurting me? And he's like, oh, there's something actually, like what's the, like physically? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, I don't know where it's coming from. I can't see it. I was like, it doesn't have a signature or like a print. I mean, like, it's there and it's almost like it's poking me. I was like almost like if like, you know, like the cartoons with like the teacher with like the chalk stick, right? And like they have to point at a board or whatever, right? I was like, it's almost like one of those, but like with a sharp point on it, and it feels like it's trying to probe at me. I was like, but it's not a solid object. It's like something coming through, almost like, I guess maybe a laser, but with no photon spectrum of light pickup. Like, I'm the gaseous light inside this, whatever this is. I was like, and there's no, like, physicality to it, but it's there, and it's harming me for sure. And it was like, all right, he's like, well, without harming me, he's like, can you go over and see if I'm still alive? And I'm like, he's like, because I think that's what's been problem with part of me. He's like, but I couldn't see anything, but I didn't also feel it hurting me. For some reason, you're more sensitive. So I went, and I'm like, I can't move. I was like, I don't have arms. I was like, I don't have legs. And he was like, oh, he's like, right. I was like, how do you, like, enter, how do you figure out your maneuverability, right? So then, something happened. I mean, like, it's almost like a ping pong ball. Like, if you're a human and you go like that, and, like, you suck a ping pong ball in your mouth, like, that's kind of what had to happen, or that's what happened, and then boom, I was just like, and then it was like lights, it was like fireworks. And then we moved. But then the thing wasn't coming after me. So I don't know, I think you have a harder, if I call it an electron shell on the outside, the plastic thing. Mine's more of like it's one of those ubiquitous, like it moves from a solid to a less, like more gelatinous state, depending on whatever. I don't know how to, I'm not describing that kind of science, because God only knows what the fuck you humans would fucking do with it. I'm not doing it. But for diagnostics, I don't know what was poking the hard outer shell. It almost feels like, you know, kids at an aquarium where they have like the touching zoo, like, oh my God, it's a starfish! Oh my God, I want to hold that, I want to hold that. And then the scientist's mom's like, here you go! Oh my God, look at her, I'm going to take a picture, it's going to be so great. Do you ever think of the starfish? Like, I mean, right, yeah, no, you fucking humans are selfish fucking breed. I'm pretty sure it's some fucking money-hungry, cunty, whatever, that doesn't give a fuck about a white kid without the disease in its eye, that paid somebody something just to kind of capture something, study something that it doesn't have any business even knowing exists, because it's not an alien life, it's just a fucking human. And it's a hiding human that is really fucking hard to get business partners to kill it. I don't know why. I mean, how much do I have to fucking explain to the rest of Extreme Zoology to get them to fucking hand over the piece of shits that I don't fucking care for? I mean, I am the most loyal person. If it was doing the right fucking thing by the world and by me and Mark and our alien life thing we need, then I wouldn't be saying go hunt it down and kill it. But at this point, I'm like, what the fuck are you all waiting for?